crocodile play basketball? Saltwater crocodiles are the largest crocodiles in the world. They have huge jaws and lots of teeth. They live in the rivers, by the jungle and in the sea. Imagine if a crocodile came to stay. What would he do? What if a crocodile went to the fun fair? He would have fun riding on a spooky ghost train, but he wouldn't be very frightened. There are few animals in the jungle that are brave enough to fight a crocodile. He's too big and scary. Would a crocodile enjoy a snowball fight? No, he would be a croc. Crocodiles are reptiles, and reptiles cannot move when they're very cold. Chilly crocs have to snooze until the sun comes out and warms them up. But a cold croc might make a good snow croc. Could a crocodile play basketball? Yes, he could shoot a ball through the hoop, no problem. The biggest crocodiles are 6 meters long. They can run, stand up on their back feet, and even leap into the air. Crocodiles can run faster than most people. What if a crocodile was very hungry? He might begin with a meal of mouthful of stones. Crocodiles swallow stones to help grind up the food in their stomachs. Then he would tuck into a giant plate of food. He could eat 500 kilograms in one go. That's about 5,000 ham sandwiches. Would a crocodile like to play with teddies? He might have huge, powerful jaws, but a crocodile would be gentle with teddies. Crocodiles don't have pushchairs for their babies, so in the jungle they carry their babies down the river in their enormous mouths. Some crocodile dads watch over their babies to keep them safe. What if a crocodile visited a castle? He could swim in the moat, or he might pretend to be a knight. His skin is covered in scales and is almost as strong as a suit of armour. The large scales on crocodiles' backs have plates of bone inside them. Even another crocodile has trouble biting through them. What would a crocodile like to do for fun? He would enjoy a game of crazy golf, but he wouldn't need a golf club. He could whack the ball with his mighty tail instead. Crocodiles need strong tails because they use them for swimming in the rivers, especially when they're chasing fish. They also use their tail as a handy weapon. What would a crocodile do if he lost a tooth? He could leave one of his big shiny teeth to the tooth fairy. Crocodiles have about 66 teeth, but if one tooth falls out, a new one grows to replace it. A crocodile grows about 3,000 teeth in its lifetime. That's about 60 times more teeth than you will ever have. That's a lot of money from the tooth fairy. Would a crocodile enjoy a sleepover? Crocodiles don't like to sleep in beds. They prefer to sleep in water. He would have to find a watery place that's big enough for him to stretch out. Everyone would need to tiptoe around him, as crocodiles have incredible hearing even underwater. It's not a good idea to disturb a sleeping crocodile. The more information about saltwater crocodiles. Crocodile is pointing to the places where he lives. Can you see where you live? There are 13 types of crocodile and 2 types of alligator. There were crocodile-like animals living alongside the dinosaurs millions of years ago. Saltwater crocodiles lay up to 90 eggs in a huge nest near the riverbank. Male crocodiles can grow twice as big as females. Crocodiles can live a long time. They may live to be as old as 100. And saltwater crocodiles are the largest reptiles in the world. Greetings from Australia. I'm on my home now and I can't wait to dive into the lovely lagoon and go fishing. Thank you for looking after me. I had lots of fun at the fair, but my favourite holiday treat was crazy golf. I can't wait to teach my crocodile friends how to play. Love, Crocodile. Hi, so this week I read the book Could a Crocodile Play Basketball and Other Questions, and it is a non-fiction text done in a really lovely informal way all about crocodiles. So there's lots of learning to be done about crocodiles, and I thought that while we were being snappy, we would have a look at contractions today. That's tricky to say. Can you say that? Contractions. So in the English language, sometimes we use 2 words and we snap a bit out of the middle and we put them together, and we use a bit of punctuation called an apostrophe to replace the missing letters, and those words are called contractions. Now, an apostrophe is curved and little and sits in the air. So it's similar to a comma, but it sits much higher in the word. So if I give you an example of a word, so the word can't is a contraction that we will look at shortly. And here is the word can't. apostrophe T. So the apostrophe sits above the letters or at the top of an ascender if you've got a tall letter. It sits high up there, in between the missing letters in a contraction, and that is how we know that it is a contraction and that there are letters missing. Apostrophes can be used for other things as well. They're always slightly curved and they always sit higher. Today we're only looking at them for contractions, and I thought we would start by demonstrating how those contractions are made. So for today I just have 10 words, and what I've done is I have written them down, and I've got a pair of scissors so that I can snip out the unwanted bit, and then we can look at where the apostrophe would come. So this is would not, and would not becomes wouldn't. So the letter that goes is the O, and it is replaced instead with an apostrophe. Now, obviously this would look really silly, so this word changes to look like this. So the N of not pushes into the D of would, and then the apostrophe comes up here and the T goes here. So would not turns into wouldn't. So equally we could look at the word we are, and we could turn it into the contraction we're by losing the A and adding in an apostrophe. So we are would become we're. It was we are before, we got rid of the A and we put in an apostrophe for those missing letters, and it became the contraction we're. So we had wouldn't and we're, and cannot would become can't. So we would have all of the word can, and then it would just be the t that would be at the end. So I'm going to chop and chop. So I've got my can and my t, but then I need to show that there are letters missing, that we chopped some out, and so to do that we put in an apostrophe. So cannot becomes can't. We could do the same with do not. Now this one is trickier because this do not becomes don't. So this is like the other one where the n shifties over and it's the O that we lose and the t remains. So the contraction goes in here, but these have to all shifty along in order to do that. So I'm not going to cut that one, I'll rewrite it. So we keep the do, and then the n comes over, we lose the O, and we have an apostrophe, and then we have the T. So do not turns into don't. So if it's two words and the apostrophe becomes in the second word, if that's where the letters are lost, then it all has to shifty together to turn it into one word. A contraction is only one word by the time we finish with it, even though it is made up of two. We will becomes wheel, so it is the W and the I that we lose, and we can have them together like that. Although that says well, because I haven't yet put in the apostrophe. So if I add in an apostrophe, then it will say will. Without that, it will say well, and it won't be a contraction. So we do have to be really careful when we're making contractions that we remember the apostrophe, because if we don't, it can very easily say something completely different. Okay, I will is next, and I will turns into I'll in exactly the same as we will. You could always create your own sets of cards, and you could have a go at doing this yourself. You could find the letters that you need to cut out and you could cut them out. I think that would be a great little activity to do. So I will becomes I'll, there's the word, and then I have a few more left. Let's see if you can help me with these. So I am will become I'm. So I am will become I'm. So it's the at that we're going to cut out, and we need to add in an apostrophe for I'm. Probably one of the most common ones. We have will become we've. So it's the H and the A that we lose, and we need to add an apostrophe in to show that our word is made up of two. So we've. I have will become I've. So it's the H and the A that we lose. The apostrophe shows us that we've lost them. I've and Could not will become couldn't, because we've got some letters that have to move together. The easiest way of doing that is to rewrite it. So couldn't. So there we have 10 different contractions that we can have a go at reading. We'll do some reading in sentences, and then we'll have a go at using them and see if we can write them. We won't need anything for the reading bit, but we will need something for the writing. We'll need something to write on and something to write with. So if you go and get your something to write on and write with, I'll meet you back and we'll be ready to get through to the end of the video. See you shortly. Okay, I've written 5 sentences using 5 of the contractions. So let's start with this one. I don't like cheese. Can you remember what this was before it was a contraction? It was do not. Absolutely, well done. So I do not like cheese, but we can use the contraction and the apostrophe and it becomes I don't like cheese. I'm stuck. Well done, great reading. What was this before it was a contraction? I am. It's an A that's missing. Well done. We wouldn't fit, so we'll have to go around. We wouldn't. We would not fit, so we will have to go around. Well done. And then there is one more at the bottom. We're not scared. We are. Exactly, well done. Let me write more and we'll have a go at reading them. I couldn't make the party, so I'll take his gift later. I couldn't. What's that couldn't? Before it turned into couldn't, it was could not. I could not make the party, so I will. I could not make the party, so I will take his gift later. In that one, you can see that using whole word creates quite a formal tone, whereas using the contractions is a bit more informal. It's a bit more like the way that we generally speak, whereas using the whole word versions is a little bit more formal. I've got to do a flip, but I just can't. So I have got to do a flip, but I just can't. I just can not. Well done. Great remembering. Some of those are really tricky. Do you have something to write on and you're something to write with? If you do, then let's have a go. To start with, let's just have a go at writing the contractions and making sure that we get the apostrophes in, and then we'll have a go at writing some sentences that have them in, because that's always great practice. But to start with, let's write the word I'm. So I am, but as a contraction, I'm. So the I will be a capital letter because it's a word in this case. I'm, I, apostrophe, M. I am, but the A is missing, and it is then I is replaced with the apostrophe, isn't it, for the missing letters. I have, I've. So again, it will be a capital I because it is a word, and then an apostrophe. The H and the A are missing. So I've. Can't. Now that's a tricky one because it's not exactly how it sounds, but can't is cannot. So can, the apostrophe goes in there. Can't. Can. Not. But we just get the t instead. Can't. Wouldn't. Wouldn't. The in wouldn't. O-U-L-D. Wouldn't. Would. Not. But the O is missing, so we use the apostrophe for the contraction. Wouldn't. We could cheat now and just rub out the first letter for couldn't. In fact, I might do that. It might make it quicker for me. Couldn't. It's exactly the same, but it starts with k, not oo. We've. We have. We've. We have is what we started with, but we lose the H and the A. We've. Exactly like I've. We have, but we lose the H and the A and we put the apostrophe in their place. We've. Nice job. Let's spend a little bit of time writing some sentences. Remember that a sentence always needs to start with a capital letter. It always needs finger spaces in between the words. If we're writing a contraction, then the apostrophe comes in where the letters are missing. And other than that, all the letters are squished together to make one word. And we'll need a full stop at the end of our sentence. Let's have a go at writing. I'm not going out today. I'm not going out today. So that contraction I'm comes at the beginning, and then not going, an ing at the end of that there. I'm not going out today. I'm not going out today. I'm is the contraction at the beginning. It would always be a capital letter because it is the word I. I'm not going out today. How did you go? Did it look similar? I'm not going out today. And the contraction there was I'm. What about if the contraction we were going to use was couldn't? I couldn't find my coat. I couldn't find my coat. I couldn't, could not, but the is missing. Could not. I couldn't find my coat. Remember that the I sound in the word my is indeed a Y and not an I. It is a tricky one. I couldn't find my coat. Capital letter at the beginning, full stop at the end, finger spaces in between those words. And remember that a contraction all comes together because it's all one word. Just the apostrophe that goes in the place of the missing letters. At the top, I could not, I couldn't find my coat. What about if I make it trickier? What about if I say it in a really formal way and you turn it into a contraction? I will have fish for tea because I am hungry. I will have fish for tea because I am hungry. I will, contraction there. I will have fish for tea because I am hungry. Remember, if it's tea, like the meal or like a cup of tea, then it's EA, not EE. That's only for when we're playing golf. How have you got on? There are two contractions in there. I will have fish for tea because I am hungry. Let me say it for you one time with the contractions in and you can check that you've got them before I show you. I'll have fish for tea because I'm hungry. So our two contractions we were looking for were I'll have fish for tea because I'm hungry. So I will turns into I'll and I am turns into I'm. Hi, so today we are going to look at the place value of different numbers. So we're going to look at what the different digits in the numbers mean, up to 3-digit numbers. So we're looking at hundreds, tens and units. But before we start that, let's start with a little bit of counting. Since we're going to look at 100 numbers, we'll do some counting in ones within between 100 and 200, and then we'll do some counting in twos and fives and tens because that's always great practice. Let's start we'll start at 101. And we will count forward and then backwards all the way to 120. Ready? Okay. You can use your little pointy fingers while we go if you want. So 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110. 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120. So it's just like counting from 1 to 20. We just have the 100 in front of it. So it just makes it a little bit more of a mouthful. So counting backwards should be exactly the same thing. 120, 119, 118, 117, 116, 115, 114, 113, 112, 111, 110, 109, 108, 107, 106, 105, 104, 103, 102, 101. And that would be the same whether it was 100, whether it was 200. When we're counting, it's still exactly the same as counting with much smaller numbers. It just has that 100 in front of it. Okay, let's do a little bit of counting in 10. Up to 100, back down. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. 100, 90, 80, 70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 0. I always like to do that with like a little star jump, but it's difficult to do a star jump in such a small screen. Should we do fives? Let's just go to 50 though, because 100 is a long way in fives. Let's go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50. 50. Well done. Backwards in fives is harder, but let's try it. 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5, 0. Well done. It is much harder to count backwards in fives than it is to count backwards in tens or to count forward in fives. We're going to use some of that number knowledge today while we look at the place value of the different digits in numbers. Now, I'm going to start by making some numbers, by creating some numbers to show them, some visual representations. The easiest way to do this is to pick something to represent the hundreds, the tens and the ones. I've got some coasters that are square to show my hundreds because they're big, hundreds. And then I've got some pencil crayons as my tens because they're tall and thin. So I can imagine this as 10 of those together. So hundreds, tens, and then I wasn't really sure what to use for ones. So I had some Smarties. So I got 9 Smarties. And you'll need 9 pencils or 9 long tall things. You could use like a fork or a spoon or something for that. And then you just need a couple of these. I just have 3 of these. So pause the video, go and find some hundreds, some tens and some ones, and then come back and you'll be ready to make some numbers together. See you on the other side. Okay, so let's use those hundreds, tens and ones to make some numbers, and then we'll have a look at what they would look like if we were to write them down. Here I have 100, I have 2 tens and I have 3 ones. So I have 100, 2 tens, or what would that be? 10, 20, 120, and there are 3 more. Absolutely. My picture that I'm showing is 123. What about if I add something more to it? So I'm going to add one of these. I'm going to add 100. I'm going to add 2 more of these. So 2 more tens. So now I have 10, 20, 30, 40. We'll add one more one. So I had 3 before and now I've got 1 more. So I've got 4. So I've got 200 and 40. 4, yeah, exactly, well done. What about this one then? I'm going to make one. I'm going to show you on the screen and we'll see if you can get what we've made. Okay, so I'll show you the picture. It has 3 hundreds, so 300, and then 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 356. Brilliant. Can you have a go at making 179? Let's have a look. 179. So you would only need 100, you're right. And then you would need 7 of your long tall things, and you would need all 9 of your ones. So indeed, if it looks like that, you are spot on. Well done. If we were to add 1 more to this, then we wouldn't be able to do that in ones, because in the ones column, we wouldn't have anything. Because if I add 1 more to 179, then I have 180. So I have 100. I have 8 tens, but I don't have any ones. So all 9 of those ones are exchanged and put away for a 10. And that's exactly the same with tens. So if I have 191 and then I add 10 more, well, I can't add 10 more because then there won't be tens, there will be another 100. So all of my tens are exchanged, go away, for another 100. So then I would have 201. And if my number looks like this, then it doesn't have any tens, but it does need a digit. It needs a placeholder to show that it doesn't have any tens. So let's have a look at how we put the numbers down on paper and what that placeholder digit is. Okay, so let's start with the number that we were just looking at. We had 2 hundreds and we had 1 1. There were no 10s in the middle of the thing that we made, and I just drew it because it's as easy as trying to make it. Here I can represent the different bits of my picture with numbers. There's a 2 and there's a 1. But if I leave it like that, it would say 21, and that number's not 21 because there's 200. So in order to show that there are no 10s, that's exactly what we put. We put that there are no 10s. We put a 0 in. So 201 is 201. If we were to make another number, so either draw or make 235. So make 235 out of your stuff, or you can draw it if you want, but let's have 235. It should look a little bit like this. And then in terms of writing that number down, we just write what we see. So there are 200s, so we put a 2. There are 3 10s, so we put a 3. And there are 5 1s, so we put a 5. So 235. What about this number then? What's this number? If I draw some hundreds and some 10s and some 1s, what number do I have there? As simple as count the hundreds. There are 3. Count the 10s. There are 4, and count the 1s. There are 2. So my number there that I created was 342. And if ever you're not sure about that 10s bit in the middle, then you just count in 10s. So if you were looking at the number, if you just had the number and not the picture, then we would know that there were 4 10s. So we could find ourselves 4 fingers and we could count in 10. So 10, 20, 30, 40. And we could do that the same regardless of how many there were, because there will only ever be 9. So we can use that as a way to help us. So when we are looking at our 3-digit number, there are hundreds, 10s and 1s, or they're sometimes referred to as units, but 1s. There are 3 different columns: hundreds, 10s and 1s. Whatever number goes here represents the hundreds. Whatever number goes here represents the 10s, and whatever number here represents the 1s. It really is that simple. If I give you 2 numbers, so if I give you I'll use exactly the same digits, but I'll put them in a different order, and we'll see which one's bigger. So which of my numbers is bigger? Yeah, the bottom one, because it's got 3 hundreds, and this one only has 100. So when we're looking at which one is bigger, we would look at the hundreds first, and then the 10s, and then the 1s, because if it has more hundreds, then it's 100 bigger. If the hundreds were the same, then we would look to the 10s and we would look to the 1s. So can you have a go at writing for me? 679. 679. Well done. What about this one? What about 904? 904. Be super careful you don't fall into the trap. There are no 10s in that number. 904. Ta-da! Yeah, exactly. There are no 10s. So 900, 4 1s, no 10s. So we put a 0 in as a no number as a placeholder. Okay, let's have a little look at a problem. So on the screen, I'll show you a picture of lots of different representations of numbers, looking at them like we have done today. And the question is it 105? So let's start with the red box. Is the red box 105? And remember, great reasoning always goes down a treat. Okay. The red box cannot be 105 because the red box has a 10 in it, and 105 has no 10s. Okay, could it be the yellow box? Let's go right down to the other corner. Could it be the yellow box? No, it couldn't be the yellow box for the same reason, because the yellow box has 10s in it and 105 doesn't. It does have 5 1s. And it does have 100, but it also has 10s. So no, it can't be that one. Could it be the green box? No, it couldn't be the green box because the green box doesn't have any hundreds. The green box has 5 10s and 5 1s, but it doesn't have any hundreds, and our number is 105. So no, it couldn't be. Could it be the purple box? No, it couldn't be the purple box because the purple box has 2 hundreds and our number only has 1. Could it be the orange box? Look carefully. No, it couldn't be the orange box because the orange box has 100, no 10s, but it has 6 1s and our number only had 5. So if we look next door, it must be the blue one, but let's just check. Does it have 100? Yep. Does it have no 10s? Yep. And does it have 5 1s? Absolutely. So there we go, we have 105. Wow, you did such a great job. So today we looked at the place value of the digits in numbers up to 999. We looked at 3-digit numbers. Remember that first digit on the left is the hundreds, then we have the 10s, and then we have the 1s, and we can use that information to read those numbers or to show them as representation using our squares, our lines, and our dots. I think you did an incredible job and you should be super proud of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day and I'll see you soon. Bye. Hi. Linked to Could a Crocodile Play Basketball, I thought we would have a look at the different animal groups. So we are going to be looking at 5 different animal groups and the characteristics that animals within that group typically have. And then hopefully that will help us to sort the animals into the different animal groups, and maybe that might spark us to learn a little bit more about them too. Let's start by seeing if we can work out what the 5 animal groups are. So on the slide here, we have the start of 5 different words, and then the ends of the 5 different words are on the other side. So have a little read of the first part on the left-hand side, and then we will see if we can add the ends to them and see if we can work out what those words are. Okay, so we have mammals, reptiles, amphibians. Cool, that's a tricky word. Can you say that? Can you say amphibians? Well done. Birds and fish would be what's left. Let's see if we can say them together. Mammals, reptiles, amphibians, birds and fish. Well done. Now there are some slides here about each of the different animal groups and their characteristics, so we'll have a go at reading them together and we will do some learning at the same time. So the first slide is all about mammals. Let's start at the top. Not all mammals live on land. Whales and dolphins are mammals and have hair. And then if we read the one on the left-hand side, we will find out why. Mammals are covered in fur or hair. So all mammals will be covered in either fur or hair. Let's read the big one at the bottom. Mammals are warm-blooded, which means that whatever the temperature outside, they keep the same body temperature. Humans are mammals, and even though sometimes we might feel a bit chilly when it gets cold, or we might feel a bit hot when it gets hot, our body can regulate, can keep the same internal temperature on the inside, the temperature that our blood and our body needs to be to keep all of our organs working. That's not necessarily the same for cold-blooded animals, which we'll look at and we'll find out a bit later on. And then the last one about mammals says mammals give birth to live young. young. So they give birth to a tiny version of themselves, like humans or cats or dogs or goats. They give birth to a tiny version of themselves that grows to look very similar to the adult version. There are a few different pictures on there of mammals. Let's have a little look and just make sure that we know what they are. So there are monkeys and primates. All types of monkeys are mammals. Zebras, meerkats, lions, pigs, hedgehogs and dolphins. So dolphins and whales, although they live in the ocean, they are indeed mammals and they are covered in hair. Not that they are hairy, but in a similar way that we are covered in fine hairs on our skin, whales and dolphins are equally the same. They are equally covered in a fine hair, and that is part of what characterises them as mammals. Let's have a look at the next slide, which is all about reptiles. Let's start at the top. While some give birth to live young, mostly they lay eggs. So that's a little bit different to the mammals. The mammals only give birth to live young, whereas there are one or two reptiles that do, but generally they lay eggs. Underneath then, read it with me. Most have 4 legs, although some, like snakes, have none. Oh, okay. But there are lots there that do. The crocodile and the iguana and the turtle, they all have 4, but the snakes don't have any. Reptiles have dry, scaly skin, so they are covered in scales. Where the mammals were covered in hair or fur, the reptiles are covered in scales. They have scaly skin. And then at the bottom, it says that reptiles are cold-blooded, which means that they keep warm or cool with help. So they need help to stay warm or cool. So they will bask in the sunshine and they get themselves cool by dipping in and out of the water, which is different to the mammals, which were warm-blooded. Okay, let's read the next one, which is all about amphibians. Oh, that's such a tricky word. Amphibians generally lay eggs, normally near the water. They have smooth skin. I think frogs always look like they'd be really slimy, but in actual fact, they have smooth skin. Amphibians live on both land and in the water. So they're very clever, they're very adaptable. They can live on the land and they can live underwater too. Amphibians are cold-blooded. Or which one was that similar to? Absolutely similar to the reptiles. The reptiles were also cold-blooded animals. Well done. And then that last big one says, when they are born, they have gills, meaning that they can breathe underwater. As they grow their lungs, it means that they can breathe on land. When they are first born, they just have gills and they can only breathe underwater. But as they develop and grow up, they develop their lungs and they are able to breathe on land as well. Hence why, as grown versions, they are amphibious. They can live on the land and breathe air and in the water and use their gills. Very clever animals. But they lay eggs normally near the water. If you think of a frog, which lays frog spawn in the water, and then the frog spawn turns into the tadpoles, and then the tadpoles turn into the baby frogs and into the adult frogs. And lots of other amphibians are the same. So amphibians are things like frogs, newts, salamanders, toads, and are very clever because they can live on land and in the water. Let's have a look at the fish. Fish don't have legs. None. They have fins. They don't have legs. Fish live only in the water. Fish all have scales, even when they're tiny. Fish generally lay eggs, soft squishy ones, in the water. Although some fish are live bearers. Some fish will give birth to live babies. Fish are generally cold-blooded, similar to the reptiles and the amphibians, and they don't breathe air. So they don't have lungs, they don't breathe air. They have gills that allow them to breathe underwater. So they only live in the water, unlike any of the other animals that we've looked at so far, and they don't have lungs, they don't breathe air, so they only have their gills which help them to breathe underwater. There are lots of different fish there, and it's always worth remembering that generally there is a bigger fish somewhere in the world, because sharks are fish too. Sharks do fall under the fish category, and they have scales rather than hair like the dolphin and the whale. Okay, let's have a look at the birds. Okay, so birds are covered in feathers. Birds are warm-blooded. So birds are more similar to mammals than they are reptiles and amphibians and fish. Birds lay eggs. Oh, that's more like the reptiles and the amphibians. They laid eggs, and the fish did too, didn't they? But the mammals didn't. Maybe they're like a hybrid between the two. Birds have 2 wings, feathers, and a beak. Not all birds can fly. Penguins and ostriches can't fly. They find alternative ways of moving around. Ostriches have long legs. They are great at running. Penguins like to toboggan. They like to slide along on their tummies, and they're also great swimmers. So not all birds can fly, even though they have 2 wings, feathers, and a beak. Birds have lungs and they need to breathe air like mammals. So they don't have gills, they don't breathe underwater, they have lungs and they need to breathe air like mammals. There are lots of different types of birds there. There are kingfishers and parrots, and there's an ostrich and a seagull and a robin and a penguin. Lots of different birds. I bet you could spot some different birds if you looked out of your window, or if you went outside for a little bit. I bet you would spot some birds, maybe ones that are on there, but maybe not. Let's do a little bit of sorting. Have a little look at the different animals that are at the bottom, and let's see if we can work out which categories they go into. Now would be a perfect time to pause the video and see if you can work out where you think they go, and then come back and join us and we'll check together. Okay, how did you get on? Do you think you know where they all go? Let's have a look. So, mammals. Let's start with the mammals. So the mammals have fur or hair. They give birth to live young. They have lungs and they breathe air. They're warm-blooded. So out of the ones that were there, the bear, the lemurs, and the giraffes are all mammals. Then let's go for the birds, because birds are easy to identify in the fact that they have feathers, 2 wings, and a beak. So there we have a robin, a flamingo, and a parrot. Those are our birds. And then fish. Fish are the only ones that only live underwater. They have scales and gills. They're cold-blooded. The goldfish and the clownfish are the 2 fish, and the word fish is in their name. And then we've got the 2 left that are tricky are the reptiles and the amphibians. So let's start with the amphibians first. There are 2 of each. So amphibians live on land and water, and they're all cold-blooded, so that doesn't really help us. The main difference between them is that amphibians live on land and in the water. So we've got the frog and the salamander are amphibians, which leaves the snake and the crocodile that are reptiles. I think that you have done an amazing job today. Maybe you could find some alternative animals, maybe in stories, or maybe by looking around, or maybe just from things that you already know. And maybe you could see if you could work out which ones of those categories you think that they belong in. I think you've done an incredible job, and whatever you do for the rest of your day, have a great day. Bye.
Greetings and hello Angel students, my name is Jay. It is a pleasure to be spending this time with you here today, and thank you very much for sharing your time with me. And how are you doing today? I hope that you're feeling amazing, and I hope that you've had a wonderful and super special day. So today I would like to share a very little secret with you that gives big, amazing, huge, massive results. Before I share it with you, would you mind sitting up nice and tall, straight back, shoulders back, head up, and maybe a little smile on your face if you wouldn't mind. So here we go. The secret that I want to share with you is that if you know and believe that you can, you absolutely can. So I'm going to get you to say that with me this time, if you wouldn't mind. All right, nice and tall, big smile on your face. I know and believe I can, therefore I can. One more time. I know and believe I can, therefore I can. Once you believe something, and once you know that to be true about you, whatever you put your mind to is something that is full of endless possibilities. Have you ever heard the saying, whatever I put my mind to, I can do? Because it is very, very true. And as we go through this lesson, I'm going to remind you and ask you again to say it with me. The special ingredient is to believe in you. And I would like to know what it is that you believe about you. Now, that's something I want you to think about. There is no right or wrong answer. It is just a question of what you believe about yourself. There's no pressure here. There is no right or wrong answer. Just have a think about what you believe about yourself. What words come up? What feelings come up when you think about what you believe about you? And whilst you think about that, I would also like you to think about something you might want to do, something you might want to be, anything that comes to mind, because you know you can. So whilst you have a little think about those questions, I'm going to tell you the story of two boys and one old lady. The two boys named Peter and Sam. Sam is 10 and Peter is 12. They don't go to the same school, but other than that, they are the best of best friends. Do you have a best friend that you can think of that you spend a lot of time with? Well, they are super close, just like that. So Peter and Sam's families know each other, their mums know each other, they spend time at each other's houses, they do homework with one another, they play football, and anything you can think of, you name it, they do together whenever they get the chance. On this particular day, Sam and Peter had asked their parents if they would allow them to go to the park together. Their parents said yes, and they decided they were going to take their football, their basketball and their kite with them. Now, they hadn't flown the kite before, so they were super excited and really happy that they were allowed to go and test it out finally. As they get there, they instantly drop the football and start kicking it about, and they're talking and they're saying, no, I'm gonna score, I'm not gonna let you score, and they're having the best of time. Sam, he starts to get a bit hungry, so they go and sit down and eat the packed lunch that they had prepared and brought with them. Whilst they're sitting there, they also start to discuss what they're going to do next. What game shall we play next? Shall we go to the basketball? Shall we get the kite out, or what? So Peter, he decides he's going to try the kite. And Sam says, okay, I'll join you soon, but I just want to practice some of my brand new football kick-up skills. So while Sam is doing that, he's playing with the ball. He notices some twigs by a tree that he's practicing his kick-ups, and he plays around with the twigs and he's kicking the ball and he's practicing his skills, but he's not really noticing anything else that's going on around him. In the meantime, Peter has got the kite and he's just trying to figure out how you do this. He's undoing the strings and he's throwing it up, and then he puts it back down and he runs, trying to get the kite to get up in the sky and get enough air within it so that it will float and do what kites do. Peter has really got it now. He knew he could, and that's exactly what he has done. He has got the kite flying high. And as he's flying the kite, he's doing his best to keep it high in the sky. He's moving backwards, letting more of the string go so the kite can get higher and higher. And just as he calls out to his friend, he takes a step back, and not knowing what was behind him, he falls into a well. He calls out to his friend Sam, and Sam rushes over, looks down the well and says, "Oh, Peter, what have you done? How did you get down there?" Peter says, "I was flying the kite, Sam, and I was walking backwards. I couldn't see where I was going, and I fell in the well." So Sam, he looks around. He's looking everywhere. He's looking, there's nobody around. There's nobody there that he can ask to help him. He's just looking around at what he could possibly use or pick up to help his friend. And then he notices a bucket with a rope attached to it. He puts the rope down into the well with the bucket attached to it, and he tells Peter to hold on. Sit in the bucket, hold on, and I'm gonna pull you out, friend. Sam sends the bucket down, Peter gets into it, holds on, and Sam, he pulls and he pulls and he pulls with all of his might to get his friend out of there. And do you know what? Because he knew and believed he could get his friend out of there, that's exactly what happened. He pulled his friend up and got him out of that well. After that, they decided perhaps they'd had a little more than enough time in the park by this point. So they decided to run back home and tell their parents what had happened. Now, the boys live in a little village where most of the people know everybody. So a lot of the people in the village saw them coming back running with their ball and their kite and everything. So they got back to their parents and they told them what had happened. Now, by this point, they had a little crowd that had gathered around them. So as they were telling their parents, a lot of the other people that were there could hear as well. And as they were listening to the boys telling of their story of their fun at the park, and not just their fun at the park, but what had happened, they were absolutely fine. Peter was not hurt, Sam was fine. They were just happy to get back home and get a warm dinner, to be honest. Some of the people were listening to them and saying, well, that's not true. You're probably not telling the full story. That's not how that story went. There's absolutely no way Sam could have got Peter out of there. And they're saying that based on the fact that if you remember at the beginning of the story, I mentioned that Peter is 12 and Sam is 10. So they're just assuming that because Sam is smaller and younger, he wouldn't possibly be able to get Peter out of that well. The boys insist that they are telling the truth. They say to their parents, you must believe us. That's exactly what happened. There was no other way for him to get out if I didn't help him, says Sam. And look how happy and proud of himself that Sam knew he could get his friend out of that well. And that's exactly what he did. And then all of a sudden, there was an older lady that everybody knew and everybody loved. Her name was Miss Maple. And Miss Maple simply said, I believe them. And everyone looked to see where that had come from. Who said that? But of course, it was Miss Maple. Everybody knew Miss Maple's voice. Someone said, well, how could you possibly know? You weren't there. What makes you believe them? What makes you believe that that's exactly what happened? And you know what Miss Maple said? I believe that that's exactly what happened. And I believe that Sam knew he could help Peter. And you know why? Because there was no one there to tell him that he couldn't. And everybody went quiet. Everybody started to really think, and they looked at the boys and they thought to themselves, well, yeah, that's true. And it was actually at that point, after Miss Maple made such a point to say that there was nobody there to tell Sam that he couldn't. Because remember, he believed and knew that he could help his friend. And that's exactly what he did. Because what have we said? I know and believe that I can, therefore I can. The boys' mums hugged them as tightly as they could, told them how proud they were of them, told them how happy they were that they had an amazing day at the park and they had made their way home safely, and that dinner would be served very, very soon. Miss Maple smiled also, and the boys ran over and gave her a big hug and a wet kiss, one on each cheek. They ran back home and had their dinner. I hope you enjoyed that story, Angel students. And now that we've come to an end with an amazing example of believing and knowing that you can, based upon Sam's triumphant win with getting Peter out of that well, I want you to remember the question that I asked you earlier. Do you remember? Have you come up with anything that you would like to do, that you would like to be, that you would like to try, because you know you can, and given the opportunity, you will? So as you continue to think about that something that you know you can do, you would like to try to do, you would like to experience, whatever it is, if it's something new or even something that you may have been already doing, already trying, if you've got anything else that you think, oh, I would be great at that, I know I can do that. That's the type of attitude I want you to have. That's the type of passion going into something that excites you, it brings you joy, it makes you think, oh my gosh, I would be amazing at that. I know I can do that. I want you to continue with that thought of what that is and the belief that you have within yourself. I want us to think of it like exercise. And as you know, to gain muscles, you would go to the gym or you would be at home and use some kind of equipment to help you get those muscles going, exercise those muscles. And what happens when you do that? They get bigger, and they not only get bigger, they also get stronger. We're going to exercise and strengthen your I can muscles. So I want you to do what we did in the beginning. Sit up tall, straight back, shoulders back, head up, smile on the face. I believe and know I can, therefore I can. I would like you to try 3 things because I know you can. These are the 3 things that will allow you to always know, to always believe without any doubt that whatever you decide you would like to do or be, you can. If you would like, it may be helpful to grab a piece of paper and a pen, preferably a notebook, so that you can keep a note of all the different things that you're learning, and whenever you want to refer back to it, or if you forget something and you need to be reminded, you can go back in that notebook and you'll have all the notes that you've made to help you remember and keep you on the right I can track. Okay, so grab that now and then we'll get into the 3 things. Okay, so have you got your notebook and your pen ready? Okay, so as I go through these 3 things to help exercise your I can muscles, if you need to pause the video at any time to make your notes, that's absolutely fine. Feel free to do so that you can go at your own pace when making your notes, okay? Number 1, it's very easy. I want you to try your absolute best. Always do your best. Why? Why? If you know you're going to try your best, if you know you're going to do your best, if you know you're going to come with your best, then it's very likely that you're going to get the best results. Wouldn't you agree? And number 2, you have the I can attitude from the beginning. And if you have I can thoughts and feelings, even if you try something and it doesn't quite go exactly how you would have liked it to at the beginning, you keep the thought, I can. You keep the feeling that you get this accomplished. You see that you can, so you know you're going to get the result that you want. It's all about the thoughts and the feelings that you have that go along with exercising your I can muscle. I know I can. I believe I can. Therefore, I can. So along with your I can thoughts and feelings, I want you to also remember to have fun and enjoy whatever it is that you've decided you can do. So number 3, I would like you to make a list of what you know you are good and great at. There is no limit to the amount of things you can add to this list. There is no particular right or wrong for this list. And once you have finished with your list, I would really love if you would share it with your family members and ask them what they might add to your list that they think is good and great about you. The reason I say to do this is because sometimes there are things that we may just be so unaware that other people really do think we are good at. We just don't know that they know that. We just don't know that they think that. So it's always interesting to see just what other people think that you're good and great at. That gives you even more to add to your list. Now, as I've said, do not be shy with your list. Add as many things as you can think of. And remember the questions we had earlier. Feel free to add things that you know you can do. I believe and know I can, therefore I can. And remember that you have greatness in you. You are great. Thank you for spending time with me today, Angel students. Bye-bye.
Hi everyone, today we're going to practice some basic Kung Fu movement. Before we start, we're going to do 3 deep breathing first. So keep your 2 foot wide, slightly bend your knees, body upright, breathing in, collecting energy into your body, breathing out. Relax your shoulders, elbow, hands push all the way down. And breathing in, breathing out through your nose only. Breathing in through your nose. Collecting good energy into your body. Breathing out through your nose. Relax your whole body. One more time. Breathing in. And breathing out. Good. Now let's do a quick exercise for your joints. Start with 1 foot wide. Here you are. Exercise your wrist and ankle same time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. And this time exercise your knee joints, help your knee circulation. 1, all the way down and all the way up. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and this time exercise your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And keep your elbow up. Hands reach out far as you can. This will open up your lungs, help your lung function. Yeah? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change. 1 hand high as you can, 1 hand low as you can. That's good for your stomach and spleen function. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. Next one, slightly bend your knee, follow your elbow, look back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Keep your arms straight, relax your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Change. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Shoulders down, head up. neck. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rolling your shoulders forward, maximum, up to maximum. Squeeze your shoulder blade together, all the way down. 1, 2, 3, change. 1, 2, 3. And relax your back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is good for your stomach function. Next one, tap your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so it's good for your shoulders function. Now we're going to do one movement for breathing exercise to improve your internal external strength. Breathing in, hands up, pull your elbow back, squeeze your shoulder blade together. Breathing out, hands reach out far as you can, then clench your face, breathing in. Keep your face on your waist, elbow back. Look forward, 1. Reach out far as you can, like a bow and arrows. Elbow back and punch forward same time, but not any power. Breathing in, clench your face. Like you're collecting energy into your body when you clench your face. Breathing out, release the tension from your body. Reach out far as you can. Follow your knuckles, look forward. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Let's do it 10 times. Slowly. Feel the movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Also, we can do a little bit of push up to build up your upper body strength. And then when we do the punching, we can use a little bit of power. So you open up your fingers like this, arm straight. Keep your arms straight, body straight. And then 1, all the way down, all the way up. 2, all the way down, all the way up. 3, all the way down, all the way up. 4, all the way down, all the way up. 5, all the way down, all the way up. 6, all the way down, all the way up. 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. So you did a little bit of push out. Now you can, when you do punching, you can use a little bit of power. Still 2 foot wide. Keep your foot point straight. Clench your face. Elbow back. Hands reach out far as you can. Deep breathing. And this time a little bit more power. 1. Breathing out. Elbow back. Punch forward like a bow and arrows. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. 10. Okay, inhale when you're more comfortable in the future, you can use a little bit more power, yeah? But breathing out, still you're training with your breathing, not too stiff. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit exercise for the leg and upper body. Then we're going to do one more round punching. So same, keep your foot point straight. You can keep your hands next to your head. Lean forward from your hips, so you don't want to put too much pressure on your joint, yeah? It's not good for your knee. Lean forward from your hips, stretch your back. When you stand up, you stretch front of your body. So when you stretch your back, yeah, it's like a yang energy, yeah, strong energy. When you stand up, you stretch your yin meridian, yeah? So that's why I make sure you stretch your back when you do it down. You stretch front of your body when you stand up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Very good. It's like you do stretching and walk on your legs same time. Next, we're going to do push-up and squat jump same time. So you keep your hands on the floor, push-ups, and feet together, and jump 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, good. Now we're going to practice first Kung Fu stance, 3.5 foot wide. 1, 2, 3.5. Make sure your foot points straight. Then face and your waist. Bend your knees. So you can put the bottle of water on your leg, not falling down. That's good. Yeah. Then jump up. Feet together. Then let's do 10 times. 1, jump. 2, marble. That's called first Kung Fu stance. Jump up. 2, up. 3, up. 4, up. 5, up. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Now you can do with the punching as well. 10 times. 1, L1 punch. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Inhale and exhale. If you feel your leg bunny hurt a little bit, that's okay. That's normal, yeah? Now let's do last stretch. Follow me. Cross your fingers. Hands up. If you have a shoulder problem, you can do this one more. Breathe in and breathe out. And body to the side. 1, 2, 3. Change. 1, 2, 3. And lift your heel up. 1, 2, 3. Good. Hands all the way down. And 3 foot point. Foot point straight. Keep your hands on your knee. Lay your body forward from your hips. 3 seconds. 1. Breathing in. And breathing out. 2. 3. Good. Now you can try use your hand, grab your shoe. 1, 2, 3. Good. Then change. 1, 2, 3. And try to keep your hands next to your shoe. Bend your knees. 1, breathing in. Keep your back straight. 2, push your knee out. 3. Very good. Now you can sit down and cross your leg. Remember we did a breathing exercise like sit down meditation. So keep your hands on your knee. All front of your body up to you. So breathing in through your nose. Stomach push up. When you're breathing out, imagine your belly button touch your back. Remember, breathing is a healing, yeah? To help your body repair faster. So breathing in through your nose, give you all the good energy into your body. Breathing out, release the tension from your body. One more time. Breathing in. Breathing out. If you have a time by yourself, normally you can do 10 times. But the class normally a little bit shorter, so we only do 3 breathing, yeah? Hopefully everybody enjoy the training. And I'll see you next time. And you can keep your hand in front of your body, lean forward from your hips. Remember in Kung Fu, see if you can stand up without using your hands. Okay, lean forward and stand up. Thank you.
Please like and subscribe so you could get more and more